What's going on, guys? In this video tutorial, I will be showing you how to divide polynomials using synthetic division. Now, before we get started, I do want to throw in a caveat. You can't always use synthetic division. It's very important that if you want to use synthetic division, your polynomials meet this condition. And the main condition is your divisor has to be a linear factor. You'll notice here our divisor is x to the first power plus 3, or just x, and that's the key point or the key condition. All right, so let's jump right to it. So what I like to do is I like to make sure that my dividend and my divisor are in standard form, and they are in descending order. So that's the first thing that you want to do before you get started and do the synthetic division. Now I notice that my dividend is missing a term. My divisor I don't have to worry about because since my divisor is a linear factor, it's already in standard form. It's not missing a term. So that's the good thing about synthetic division, that you don't have to worry about your divisor. It's already set up. It's in standard form and descending order. You don't have to worry about. What you do have to pay attention to is your dividend. And you'll notice here, I'm going to rewrite my dividend because I'm missing a term. I'm missing x to the second power. And if you remember in the previous video when we did log division, whenever you're missing a term, you have to put in a placeholder. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite my dividend so that I include that placeholder. So another thing that I like to do is I like to include my phantom ones for synthetic division. So I'm also going to write them in as well. So I'll show you what I mean. Notice here, I have x to the third and there's no number in the front. So whenever you don't see a number in the front or a leading coefficient, it's called the phantom one. So I'm going to go ahead and write that in. So I'm going to say 1. I'm going to say 1 x to the third. So I'm going to write 1 x to the third, and I'm going to put in a placeholder for the missing term, which is x to the second, and I'm going to put in a 0, x to the second, minus 4x plus 6. And you'll notice that I used a different color. I used the blue color to identify the numbers that are going to be in front of my variables, as well as my last number, my integer, because this is going to be very important when you jump into the synthetic division part. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my divisor and I'm going to write my divisor. I'm going to make it equal to 0 because I need to find, in some math books they call it the k term. I'm just going to call it my x value, okay? So I need to make it equal to 0. So I'm going to say x plus 3 is equal to 0. And I'm going to solve for it, meaning I'm going to solve for my x value. This x value, or k value, whatever you want to call it, is going to come in very handy when you go in through the synthetic division process, because you're going to need it. So I'm going to subtract 3 to both sides. Okay, and this is going to cancel out. So I'm going to be left with x equals -3. Okay, so what I'm going to do after is I'm going to draw my upside down division bracket for synthetic division. I'm going to draw my upside down division bracket, and I'm going to take the numbers of my dividend, and I'm going to put them inside of my upside down division bracket. So I'm going to write 1, 0, -4, and 6. I'm going to take my k value or my x value for my divisor, and I'm going to write it on the outside of my upside down division bracket. I can't stress this enough. You got to be careful with the symbols. If you miss a symbol somewhere, it's going to throw your entire problem off. Okay, once I get to this point of synthetic division, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my first number of my dividend and I'm just going to bring it down. I'm bringing it down. I'm not going to do anything to it. Just bringing it down. And I'm going to take this number, I'm going to multiply it with -3 or whatever your x value is. So I'm taking it -3 times 1. That's going to give me -3. Watch where I'm going to put the -3. I'm going to put it back inside of the synthetic division bracket. I'm going to then add these two. 0 plus -3, that's going to give me -3. I'm going to do this again. Take -3, multiply it with -3, that's going to give me +9. And I'm going to put it inside of the synthetic division bracket. I'm going to add these two, just like I did in the previous one. -4 plus 9, and that is going to give me +5. So I'm going to put +5 on the bottom. And then I'm going to take +5, multiply it with -3, that's going to give me -15. Put it up here. And I'm going to add 6 plus -15. And this is what this last number that we get here, this is what we call our remainder. So 6 plus -15, that is going to give me -9. Okay, so we get to this point, we have all these numbers, but we need to translate or rewrite these numbers as a polynomial. So what I do is I look at my original dividend. I look at the degree more specifically, or the highest power of my original dividend, which was 3, and I'm going to take it 1 power down to rewrite my new polynomial or my solution. So if it was x to the third, this one is going to be, it's going to start off as x to the second, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to write 1 times x to the second minus 3 times x to the first, or just x, plus 5, which is my integer, and my remainder, I'm going to write it as a fraction, just like in long division. I'm going to take my remainder, I'm going to write plus parentheses -9 over our divisor, which was x plus 3. Now you can actually, I'm going to rewrite this in a solid black color so that you can kind of see what the solution is, or the quotient. You can actually factor this negative out. So you can rewrite this like this. You can and I'm also going to get rid of the phantom 1 because we just put it there for the purpose of instruction. So I'm going to write this as x squared minus 3x plus 5. And remember I said I was going to factor that negative. So I'm going to say minus parentheses 9 over x plus 3. And there you have it. This is our solution, or our quotient to the synthetic division problem. So I'm hoping that you guys found this video tutorial helpful on how to divide polynomials using synthetic division. Take care. I'll see you all soon.